tells us indirectly that maybe he cannot run fast, maybe he is not very active in his dealings, but his head is very big, maybe he is intellectually very great. So once what happened, the divine sage Narad came to this family and he told, Mr. Shiva, I have a very sweet mango with me, but alas, I have only one, and I would like to give it to your best son. Now started the conflict. How can a father say he is my best son and he is not my best son? Then he told, okay, let me put a competition and whoever wins will get it. So he told, off you go to the world and circle it 3 times, dipping in every holy water, visiting every shrine you encounter on your way when you are traveling around the world. The small child peacock has his means of transport. So off he went on the peacock at a lightning speed. But what can the fat boy, the elder son, do? He has nothing to do. So he waited, and finally he stood up and started revolving around his parents. Then at the end of the race, a small child comes and the elder son is there sitting at the feet of his parent. Then the father declared, he is my best son. Narad, you can give mango to me. The second child was astonished. Then the first child told, see, you have gone around the world, but I have gone around my world. For all of us, we have our world, wherein every idea you take from outside has an interface. In the software terminology, you have an interface to your world, to the outside world. Every idea that comes to your world automatically get transformed to your idea and your vision of your world. So what this picture actually resembles is a person, be a householder or a wealthy person. This householder is definitely very wealthy, because you can see his wife with lot of jewels. Had he be a poor man, he would not have afforded all that. But despite of being wealthy, healthy, we always cannot have a much broader look. We always live within our world. But Lord Shiva is a god who has no geography. You go to north, south, east, west, anywhere in our country, you see on the calendar almost a similar picture without much modifications. Maybe the elder son whose transport is rat, you may see that, and couple of other things. But geographically, if you go around the country, you almost see the same picture. Now, the second picture which I showed you is this picture. It's a reclining form of another god which is from Hindu mythology called as Lord Vishnu. This picture shows that he should be a very big person, because like a politician who has lot of followers around him, he has so many people around him. But the fact is that when this god, when the mythology says that when he opens the eyes, the world started running on its wheels. Also, it is very much similar to us. When you are in a sleep, when you are in deep slumber, and so-called alpha, beta, gamma rays coming from out of your mind, you don't know what is happening. Even if you have a wound in your leg, you may not actually realize it when you are in a very deep sleep. That's why doctors give anesthesia. But when you open your eyes, you are again back to this world. You realize your pain, you realize your tensions, you realize your bugs, you realize your deadlines, what not. Sorrow comes to you. This is a symbolic form saying that when this person actually opens the eyes, the whole world actually now exists. But when you close your eyes and when you are in deep slumber, nothing exists. Maybe not even you. This picture is also not geographically restricted. You see the same form almost everywhere. But this is some form which is little bit geographically restricted, but this encompasses the idea of all in one and one in all. By encompassing those, you can see the tools here, wherein the ideology of uniqueness or unity is not bifurcating people based on their even duties or their jobs. This portrait is of Vishwakarma. where he symbolizes saying that if you worship me as a form of a tool, wherein you might have seen many places wherein people actually worship tools, and you see religious marks on that. He symbolizes saying that I don't want to isolate people into the oneness of the thought process wherein the world is within you. So this symbology says that irrespective of your job, you are also into the oneness. And finally, I would like to conclude with a verse which substantiates all the ideas that I have told. The verse goes like this: within eternal myths or infinite myths lie eternal truths. Who can see it? Lord Varuna has 1,000 eyes, Indra has 10 eyes, but I have only 2 eyes. Thank you. Over to you, Krishna.
Thanks, Moshe, for the wonderful speech. So I would like you to take 1 minute to fill the evaluation, if you have any.
Explain.
Huh?
Explain what this is doing.
So the evaluation process is like what are the positive aspects of it, positive aspects of his speech, and in which ways he can improve. Let's say some eye contact, then gestures, whether the speaker has shown correct gestures or not, then his confidence, then the manners, and then the content of it and the organization of it. So these are the different criteria.
Can you just pass on that pen to him, please?
Yeah.
No, there, that's it. Yeah. That's good. You have something?
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah. Continuing with the theme, when you say a preconceived notion, what leads to a preconceived notion is very important. So in our everyday life, let's say a child, if is not good at maths, it doesn't necessarily mean he's not good at maths. It so happens because of perception. Perception is what we create throughout our life. Let's say a child, if he hears from his teacher or parents, he's not good at maths. Even though he's good at maths, he may develop a perception that goes deep into his mental state, saying that he's not good at maths. It so happens that whatever the teacher, let's say he teaches, his method may not be suitable for the child. He may be learning in his own style. So that might be one of the reasons. Another reason could be the way of learning, the way he learns may be different. Fellow Toastmasters, what I would like to say is, it's all about perception and ego. Let's say, you may say, this is right or this is wrong. It might happen for the other person, if you step into his shoes, right? It may so happen that he will also have the perception based on which he can form his own preconceived notions. That means, you should know, you should respect others' values and know, okay, why he has those preconceived notions, and then form the decisions. Without further delay, I would like to call the speech evaluation for speech 3, which will be given by Ravi Sharma. So I would like to call Vittal the evaluation criteria which will be used for that.
Thank you, Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and the speaker in particular. Let's get directly to the point. Where's the speaker? Okay, he's here. Your objectives for the speech are select a speech topic and determine its general and specific purposes. Just to understand what a general purpose and specific purpose means. A general purpose is to inform, to persuade, or to entertain, or to inspire. And a specific purpose is what you want the audience to do after listening to your speech. In short, you should have a motive, or you should give the people in the room a motive. Organize the speech in a manner that best achieves those purposes. Ensure the beginning, body, and conclusion reinforce your purposes. Project sincerity and conviction, and try and control some nervousness that you may feel. Strive not to use any notes, and you have just 5 to 7 minutes. No pressure.
So without further delay, I would like to call Ravi to give a speech on a topic which is used in Cisco, that tool. So when I asked him why did he choose that, he said he has poor memory. So he uses that tool. So with that, I would like to call Ravi.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good afternoon.
When you see this word on the board, what does your mind generate, or what is that you think?
Fruit ball.
Mango? Else? Yes, you're all right. Some people would have thought about their favorite fruit. Others would have thought about a basket of fruit. Others might have thought about a fruit shop and things like that. You might also have associated, the color, or thought about the color of the fruit or its taste and things like that. Did anyone think about a small, computer printout popping into your mind of this word fruit?
No.
No, right? Because our brain exactly thinks, it basically associates a word with an image. This is how our brain works. Let me take you a few years back. Say, for example, when you were in school and colleges, we were all asked to write a lot of notes. We all used to take a lot of notes. And these notes had only, just words and phrases and sentences. Or we also had some sort of indentation, like, A and then 1, 2, 3 and things like that. And we were all using the same color pen, maybe either a blue color or a black color. We were, prohibited from using red or other colors which our brain actually likes. Now when we use the same color, it's kind of monotonous, the same color. So when I say monotonous, that means it is boring. So to our brain, all these words and letters and everything, they are all boring. So that is why we are not able to retain whatever we write. So in turn, what does that we do? We keep on writing more notes, thinking that okay, I'm not able to recollect, so probably I should be writing more notes. So that is a mistake which most of us do. No matter what language you are writing, either you are writing in English from right to left to right, or an Arabic from right to left, or a Chinese which is vertically. To the brain, all these things are boring. So when the brain gets bored, what does it do? It just tunes off, or it starts daydreaming, or it sleeps. This is exactly what happens. Now there is no problem with taking notes. The only issue is we are just using one part of the brain, that is the left part of our brain. The other part, the right part, we are not at all using it. It's the right portion of the brain which actually deals with images and colors and those kind of things. And we are in fact not at all using it. So what is that we are doing? We are only using 50% of our brain. The other 50% is just idle. I'll just give you an analogy. It's something like, I ask you to take a 100 meters race, wherein I tie your right foot and your right arm from behind and ask you to do the race. So what happens? You just fall flat. So this is what happens in our daily life. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, today I'm going to talk about a technique called mind map. Now what exactly is a mind map? A mind map, I can say, is a thinking tool or something which goes on in your brain. You represent it externally. Or you can say it's a photograph of an idea which goes on in your mind. I'm going to show you a mind map of a session which I took some time back. And was my first session in Toastmaster Club, and it is called Ice Breaking Session. So I have created a mind map of that particular session. So this is how it looks. Since it is something which I have to talk about myself, so at the center I place my picture because this is my main theme or the essence. Now from this I'm going to draw other main branches. These are nothing but the main topics which I'm going to talk about. So in my case I have chosen something like education and my profession, about my hobbies, and also about my native place and things like that. I won't go into details of this particular topic. What I want you to see is that the colors which I have used here, it's these colors which actually attract our brain and it keeps them very, very active, or you can say it illuminates the brain and does not let it fall asleep. The other thing which you have noticed is I have created some branches which is started from the center theme, and you can also create sub branches to various things. And the other thing which I have done is we have pictures all over. So what I have done is, in turn, we have associated a keyword with a particular picture. So this the brain is never going to forget. If we associate a keyword and a picture, it will always be there in the brain. And when you are drawing this kind of branches, make sure that they are all curved branches or curly ones. The reason is when you do a curly one, it's more attractive. The straight lines are boring for the brains. I would just like to summarize this. So whenever you're doing a mind map, you should have a theme at the center, and you should use a lot of colors, and you should use a blank paper, you should use a blank paper. Okay, now I'll show you one more mind map. This is a mind map about this particular session. So I started by showing the pitfalls, what is the problem, something about left brain and right brain and all that. I've also added some images. I don't know whether people at the back can see it. And then I talked about what a mind map is all about. Now let us see what are some of the applications of a mind map. You can use a mind map in any place where you actually need your brain to think, or you want to do a brainstorming session. You can always use a mind map. So here are the applications of a mind map. I can say it's something like, say for example, tomorrow you want to start a new venture. So there are a lot of things which you need to take into consideration, like the things about your employees, the location of your office, and things about finance, your ad, the advertisements, what sort of advertisement you want to do. And tomorrow you are planning for a vacation. So what is that you are going to do? I mean, what all places you want to visit, or how are you going to travel, and what other activities and things like that. And say for example, I also use it often with my kids. I have a 4.5-year-old kid, my daughter. So whenever I want her to learn or talk something about a particular topic, for example park, I draw the pictures of the park, what all is there in the park, maybe the trees or the playing area and other things, so that it's very easy for her to recollect those things. I would like to conclude by giving a small I can say task for you all. It's something like this. We all know that the more we think about a particular topic, it grows, and the more it grows, sometimes it also becomes real. So that is why people always keep telling us, always think positive, always think positive. So what you can do is you can draw a mind map of your ideal future. While you are drawing this mind map, do not impose any restrictions on yourself. Think that everything is possible, and in this mind map include certain things like where all places you wanted to travel, and what is your ambitions, your employment or some sort of career advancement which you wanted to do, some sort of interests which you always thought of but you are not able to do, something like some exercises or meeting people and those kind of things. And once you have this mind map ready, use it to guide you and to motivate you in your everyday life, whatever you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. So, since we don't have separate sheets, is the evaluation already done? Or
No.
You can just tear the paper in half and
Half
write
and
the
yeah,
evaluation
yeah.
for the other person.
Maybe from next session we'll have separate two.
Yeah, right.
Right. If somebody needs a page, he has a.
No, inside the drawer, the first on top, right hand side papers, yes, if anybody else wants. You can use them, they are all usable. We'll just save paper.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.